Welcome back to The Answer. We're going to be doing some Velvet Room to start off this part, though I'm not going to be fusing exactly the persona that I wanted to be. You'll see when we get in there. There was a specific persona that I kind of wanted, and it turns out that I got a different combination of personas from Shuffle Time than I did in my practice run, and I don't think I can get it here. Anyway, the first time you enter the Velvet Room, Igor will give his usual spiel about how the place works. Fusion, you know the drill. It's pretty much the same as always, with a few differences. That's pretty similar to the number that we had during the journey. Now, I should mention, all of the ultimate personas for the journey, they're just available as standard in the answer, so I guess that's just the protagonist's power transferring to Gigas. So, like, things like, I don't know, like Metatron, you can just fuse them normally if you're at the right level. Also, anything that required an Elizabeth request before, things like, I'm pretty sure Black Frost did, and I think King Frost did as well, those ones, they're also available as standard fusions. So I've got quite a few cards. So let's do some fusion. At the moment, we only have normal and triangle spreads available, so let's see what we can make with our current personas here. I've got quite a few of them, and as you can see, we can already hold 12 to start off with. Now, Rakshasa in particular is a persona that I don't really want. Namely, it's very low level, and I have two other personas that are stronger and have resistance to slash. Now, resistance to slash is what I want for the upcoming boss, because it has a really dangerous slash attack. So, I want to keep either Titan or Ares, probably Titan because Titan has better endurance. So, I definitely don't need Rakshasa. So, I can fuse Rakshasa to make either Lamia, Power, I definitely don't want Valkyrie. Power will get rid of another resist slash persona and give me something. Actually, I kind of want to inherit dodge slash, that's pretty good. Magaru is decent, Power's alright, but not exactly the best. Lamia is actually a fairly decent persona, weak to strike, but very, very strong magically. And inheriting Zeo2 is not bad. Raging Tiger's probably not going to be that useful. I think that makes you do more damage when you're raging, but it's, yeah, you have to intentionally get hit with rage for that to work. Let's see what we're giving up. Take Minakata also resists strike and Elec as well, but is weak to both instant death and knowledge. Yeah, I like to get rid of Take Minakata as soon as possible, because I do not like having instant death weaknesses on the protagonist. Lamia, on the other hand, actually nullifies one of the instant death elements, so I'm going for either that or Power. Power also has an instant death weakness, unfortunately. I might actually go for Lamia here. I want to keep High Pixie because I like having access to Ice, and I want to keep, I'm just going to keep calling them Waffle. I want to keep Waffle because I like Miragi. You actually really want something with Miragi going into this boss fight. It'll definitely help. Resistance to Slash and Fire is the main things you'll need for this boss fight. Also Wind, but Metis has that covered, and also Yukari, so Wind is not as much of a priority. But having Fire spells is very, very useful because no party members that you have access to at this point have Fire, and the boss's underlings are weak to Fire, so that's useful. You will always have access to Fire thanks to Orpheus. Now, here is one of the most annoying things about the answer. Kind of interesting, it doesn't say emerge from the sea of your soul in this one. But as you can see there, no social link bonus. You will never get the social link bonus in this game. And that means it's a lot harder to level up personas, or rather, the personas that you'll be getting, you'll mainly be stuck with their starting skills for a long time. Because, yeah, it's very, very hard to level up personas. They require a huge amount of experience, and you'll need to grind a lot. So it's usually what you see is what you get. You're restricted to just the skills the personas start with, and any inherited skills for the most part, so inherited skills are much more important here than they are in the journey to some extent. As you can see here, we can still fuse King Frost right off the bat, despite that requiring an item during the journey. Dodge Fire is not bad. And hey, it's Genbu. I will never see Genbu now and not think of a certain character from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but we're not at the right level to be able to use the Turtle of Shining Justice. We can fuse Sarasvati. Sarasvati is a decent ice user, and yeah, if you've played Persona 5, you'll remember Sarasvati is much stronger in that game. Inheriting Dia is not bad, but I don't want to get rid of Orpheus. Now, Take Mikazuchi. Take Mikazuchi is also a pretty good Persona for this boss fight due to resisting Slash, and Orotaro Kaja is great. However, we can get Take Mikazuchi in Shuffle Time in the next area, so I'm gonna pass on that. Also, the lack of social link bonuses means that Personas that you get from Shuffle Time are actually a lot more useful than they would normally be, because back during the journey I was like, I don't want to use them because, you know, I'd rather have Personas that get social link bonuses, they're much higher level, but here, not so much. Anyway, we're a little bit off Orthoris. Queen Mab is actually kind of meh. Weak to Slash is not good for this next boss, and you don't start with any offensive skills, so I don't particularly want Queen Mab. Now, here's the thing. The Persona that I actually wanted to get here is Yamata no Orochi, who's actually very, very good for this early in the game. Unfortunately, I don't seem to have the right Personas to fuse him. I did in a practice run, but it doesn't seem like I do here. Yeah, as you can see, here's Black Frost, who I believe required a special fusion recipe in the journey. Yeah, I can get Shisa, I can get Flauros, but yeah, I think what is causing this is that in my practice run, I got, I think it's Principality, one of the lower level Justice Personas, the one who looks like the Statue of Liberty. I got them, and I think they are, it's much easier to fuse Yamato no Orochi with them, because, yeah, it doesn't seem like I have it as an option, which is a shame, because I actually like it. It is weak to Slash, but it has very good stats otherwise. Something I should also mention, if you are at the right level, Jikokuten is great for the upcoming boss, because it has very good stats, resists Slash, and they're not going to use Mudo, and it's also got some pretty good skills. Orosuku Kaja is nice. So, yeah, I think I can't really do much else here, unfortunately. You kind of work with what you have in the answer. Kind of reminds me of the early levels of a max social links run, although in this case we're not restricted by what we need for social links. So, speaking of the upcoming boss, that's what I'm going to be focusing on this time. Now, the way that I like to do things in the answer is I like to go through the dungeon. On my first run, I like to go through it just fighting pretty much every enemy, exploring it, getting chests where possible, and then leaving and keeping all of my levels. Then, I like to go back in and blitz straight to the boss. Take the stairs the moment that I see them, just go straight to the boss. Now, I'll explain the reason for that when I actually get there, because the boss is technically on floor 8, but floor 7 is actually a special floor as well, so all we need to do is really get to floor 7. So, in this run, I like to avoid enemies unless I have absolutely no choice, because I'm just focused on getting to the boss floor while expending as little SP as possible, and you will see... That was close. Didn't quite hear that thing making its shadow grumble. Definitely heard that one, though. Uh-oh, that's a dead end. Oh, hey, I managed to avoid that. That's not good. Uh-oh. I think I may have to fight this thing. So if nothing else interesting happens, I'll just see you at the boss. You ran right into me, that's kinda dumb, but I'll take it. I actually really wish the Gold Shadows were, like, Metal Slime-style enemies and gave good experience in this one, like they did in Persona 4, because... yeah, it's kinda hard to get experience during the answer, and you really need it, so I really wish they worked like that. Oh, okay, we've never actually been here before. So, yeah, like I said, the boss is on floor 8, but you really just need to get to floor 7. Floor 6? Oh, okay. Haven't seen that. Are they gold? Nope, they're regular enemies. You know, I seem to remember these floors giving more experience than usual. I actually should capitalize on this, probably. Oh, of course you would giving this combination.
There are 4 enemies.
Oh, there's Takumi Kuzuchi in shuffle time anyway. Got it. Good. And yeah, these floors do give more experience than normal. So maybe I should stay here a bit.
3 dazed enemies. This is our chance.
Well, actually, only one of them is dazed, but the fact that we're starting to see enemies that start the battle dazed means that our levels are probably okay for this point.
The enemy's off balance. Good attack.
So yeah, enemies that are in distress status, just as a recap from the journey, they take critical hits more easily, and they also sometimes run away, and their evasion, I think, is greatly decreased as well. And from that, Orpheus leveled up, and has learned a better fire attack, which will actually come in handy for the boss fight. And with that, Igus goes to level 28.
My skills have increased.
My skills have improved.
Yes! My skill level has increased.
Oh, nice triple level up there. Huh, we kind of needed to fight our way through everything on this floor to get to the stairs anyway, so that worked out pretty well. So once we get to floor 7...
Huh? I sensed something unusual run by just up ahead. I wonder what it was. It seems to have gone down to a lower floor.
So we have the mysterious protagonist-shaped shadow again. And it seems to be beckoning us onward. This couldn't possibly be a trap, right? So, the floors before bosses are kind of interesting. If we go down here, it will lead to a boss. But we also have an exit point, a one-way exit point, and a save point. So, checkpoints are handled kind of differently in the answer. In the journey, when you reach a boss floor, you could immediately warp back to the entrance of Tartarus, and then prepare yourself for the fight, warp, save, and then warp back and fight the boss. Here, we get a save point before the boss, but if we want to warp back and prepare, we have to go all the way back to this area again. There are warp points in the Abyss of Time, but they don't come until after bosses, not before. So, in some ways, I kind of like this better, because bosses in the journey could be a little bit easy, but in other ways, it's a little annoying that we have to, go all the way back if we want to prepare. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and save here. So you'll see that I have Titan equipped here. You want resistance to slash attacks for this boss, like I said. Resistance to strike doesn't hurt either. And you also want something that can use fire. Now, this boss is level 30, but I think going in at level 28 is fine. In fact, I was planning on going in at 27, so... if anything, I'm higher level than I thought I'd be. So, we're all healed. If you are going to use anyone's SP to heal before the boss, Akihiko's is the best bet, because Akihiko's skills are actually pretty useless against this boss. He can't even hurt some of the enemies in the fight. There is a reason I'm bringing him, though, and you'll see when we get in there. So, it's going to be boss time once we get into the 8th floor. So, what do we have here? That's another one of those Hulk Hogan shadows.
Multiple shadows confirmed. I think they've been waiting for us.
So, yeah, it was a trap.
Look! That strange presence is there, too.
And he's gone.
Oh! The reaction vanished. Incoming shadows. Please be careful.
I kind of like how they all raise their arms up before the fight begins. And we have the Full Moon Shadow boss theme. I'm kind of glad they used it for the answer, because I like it a lot better than the Tartarus boss theme. So we have the Immortal Gigas and 3 Visceral Mayas. The Immortal Gigas is the real threat here. The Mayas are pretty much pure support. I'll go over their abilities once I actually scan them. You want to scan the Immortal Gigas first.
Give me a sec.
Although, Akihiko could be pretty dumb and attack the Mayas, because they do, if I remember right, they drain electricity? Let me just check my notes. Yes, they do drain it. Okay, they don't repel it, at least. So, the Immortal Gigas is actually weak to wind, and for that reason, I like to put Metis on Knockdown. Wherever that is. There it is.
Understood.
And I'm currently on Titan. Immortal Gigas is... Okay, yeah, so I don't have anything listed in my notes that it has any immunity to pierce attacks, so I'm just going to go for a standard attack here. Oh, I probably should have put Akihiko on heal/support. And I want to put Yukari on that too. That is bad! Because they repel everything physical except for pierce. So, the Immortal Gigas, it has a, well, decent variety of skills, but the main thing you want to watch out for is Gale Slash. That hurts a lot, and that's why I recommend Slash Resistance for this fight. It's weak to wind, but it has the Dodge Wind skill, so it's not all that reliable hitting it with wind. Now I just need to scan the Visceral Mayas, because otherwise my party member's going to be doing this. Yeah, they repel everything physical except pierce, like I said. But since we know this thing's weakness now, well, I mean, we technically don't, but scanning it means your party members do. And here's the annoying thing about this fight if you don't have your allies on knockdown. They will knock the Gigas down and then immediately wake it back up again by hitting it again while it's on the ground. So that was a critical and it only did 18 damage. The Mayas are incredibly weak, although having Igas lose her turn there might be a problem. Oh, actually, they did the thing that I was talking about my party members being stupid with. They woke Igas back up again by hitting her again. So, Akihiko's going to be on heal/support.
Let me try that.
And I'm going to put Yukari on... Yeah, she's in with Medea, so I definitely want her on healing too. That pretty much means that I'm forced to handle the damage here, but with Metis on knockdown, she will usually hit the Gigas with Gurula and then leave it alone. And that way, we prevent the Gigas from actually attacking us. So, that is good. Should I stay on you just in case the Gigas doesn't stay down this turn, or should I go for... I think I'm just going to go for... Like I said, these... I do have a scan going on one of these, right?
I'll scan the target.
Want to make sure to scan them so my party members stop being idiots. But yeah, Pierce is the one physical element they don't repel. Now, hopefully, Meta should leave it alone now. Yeah, so she doesn't do anything here. And now the Visceral Mayas, they have a pretty huge assortment of skills. Very few of them are attacking based. In fact, all of their attacking skills are pathetically weak. They're mainly here for support. So there are two strategies that you can employ here. You can either try and take out all of these things and prevent the Gigas from getting support, or you can do what I like to do and take out the Gigas first, because these things are absolutely no threat alone. You saw how little damage they did even with criticals. They are very, very weak. So yeah, they repel everything physical except Pierce. They're weak to fire, but have dodge fire, so that's kind of annoying. And they also drain electricity. They also have Dekaja and Dekunda. Now, the main reason why I'm putting Akihiko on heal/support is so that he will use debuffs, and that way he'll pretty much force them into wasting their turns, cancelling their debuffs instead of using buffs on the Gigas. Thank you, Yukari. This is totally out of character for her in the answer, as you'll see later, but I like that she's doing that. You are criticaling a lot in this fight for some reason. Don't really mind because you're pathetic. I mean, I'd rather you critical than the boss criticaling. As long as Metis doesn't go down, we can pretty much keep the Furious Gigas locked, and it's a boring way to win this fight, but it pretty much falls into boring but practical. Don't want to use Rebellion, though, just in case the Gigas gets a turn in. That's funny, I was talking about using Rebellion and I get a critical anyway. These things do seem fairly evasive. Oh yeah, I definitely want to keep my slash resistance active, because that, yeah. Just thought about that. If it gets dodge wind off, it means it actually does get an attack in that turn.
Hang in there.
Okay, Medea, that is what I want you to be using. It is annoying that party members are purely AI controlled in this game, and considering that the answer is not in the PSP version, there's no way you can play the answer without AI controlled party members, but if you know what the different commands do, it's actually not that tough to keep your allies doing exactly what you want them to do. You might also notice I haven't put Metis in Orgia mode. This fight's going to go on for a while, and so I really don't want her to overheat. She has just way more than enough SP to keep that thing down, so I don't really need to worry too much. Once the Gigas is down, though, I'm going to put her back into Orgia mode. Well, not back into Orgia mode, I'll put her into Orgia mode. Now, I hope you target the Gig... Yeah, you didn't. That's fine.
I won't lose.
And that is probably aimed... Oh, actually, at yourself. That's fine. Yeah. I have seen Yukari go down in this fight before, but I have quite a few revival beads, so it's usually fine. You can just revive her again. The main annoyance with party members going down in this fight is that the turn order gets screwed up, and you want to have Metis' turn before the Gigas like we've got here. Anyway, at this point, this is pretty boring. Interesting, you're still debuffed. Usually you cancel that. But yeah, the main reason I want Akihiko to be using his debuffs here is, like I said, I want these Mayas to waste their turns cancelling debuffs instead of buffing the Gigas, because I don't want them to do that. Yeah, this is the problem in fights against multiple enemies when Akihiko hasn't learned his multi-target debuffs yet, is that he'll keep focusing on debuffing a single enemy. I wish you could assign him a target to debuff, but you can't do the assign target order while also using heal/support. Because if I put assign target on him, he'd probably just Zeo the Gigas instead of debuffing it like I want. Again, if my party members were able to be controlled, that would not be an issue, but such is Persona 3. You make do with the order system. It's actually not that terrible, at least in my opinion, once you've figured out what each of the orders do. Like the fact that if you put them on knockdown, they usually won't attack enemies while they're down, which is generally really bad. That looked like it was... Yes, it was aimed at the Gigas. Great. That's going to help. I'm going to keep you healing. I don't want to speak too soon, but provided that you have resistance to slash and you know to put Metis on knockdown, this really isn't that difficult of a boss fight. Like, as you can see, the Mayas do pathetic damage. Like, really pathetic damage. Their strength stat must be pretty much non-existent. I'm surprised they haven't used Dekunda yet. Now, I'm going to guess this is going to miss. No, it didn't. Okay. Yeah, the defense debuff is barely increasing the damage we do there, but that's fine. I'm more concerned with keeping this thing stun-locked, because I do not want it to use Gale Slash. Okay, that is great. Having you attack debuffed is also nice.
I won't lose.
And yeah, healing yourself, that's also fine. Gotta keep the healer in the fight, after all. And your debuff's already reverted. That has got to be some of the worst double fangs I've ever seen from an enemy in this game. Yeah, I guess is just being pretty boring here, but it's really all she can do. I don't want to switch off of Titan. I mean, I could go to Waffle and start using Miragi, but I'd rather do that once the Gigas is down.
Enemies return to normal.
Because this fight gets a lot easier when he's gone. Spreading that attack debuff. Still healing yourself, I see. Gotta keep an eye on your SP a little bit. I guess it's taking a little bit of damage. Not all that much, though. I feel like I can feel pretty confident in Yukari going for a heal here. I guess the problem is if that thing goes for Gale Slash because Metis misses. Let's see what happens. And yeah, if she wasn't on knockdown, she'd probably be prioritizing the enemy there that's on low health. Well, I mean, she would if she had anything that could hurt it. I mean, wind does work on them, but I'd rather her aim her wind at this thing. Actually lost track of which one is debuffed and which isn't. But thankfully, Fuko has support scan now, so we actually know which enemies are debuffed and which aren't. That double fangs is just so weak. And that's really weak because I resist slash. Okay, one of the Mayas is about to go down. Surprised I haven't seen them try and buff the Gigas, because you'd think that's what they're designed to do. Their offensive skills are terrible. Look, I know I'm totally wasting Metis' 1-mores here, but I like this. This is safe, basically. It prevents the Gigas from getting turns, and you don't want it to use Gale Slash.
Hang in there.
Okay, that's on Akihiko. I don't care about you. I don't care about you as well. Yukari's probably going to end up healing herself this turn. Guess I'll focus on the Maya that isn't debuffed. Actually, I forget what the Gigas' resistance are in terms of Slash, Strike, and Pierce, so I don't know if it's safe for Igus to be shooting the Gigas. Okay, attack reverted. Let's hope that Akihiko's AI is smart and debuffs it again now. No, he's going to use Dia. Which unfortunately means Yukari can't really do much.
I won't lose.
Except knock down the Gigas. Okay, that's interesting.
Keep going.
Actually, I'm totally fine with that, because if the Gigas was still down before Metis' turn, that would have been awkward. But it's up again, so Metis can knock it down again. Double fangs. Actually, that's a little bit worrying. I know that, like, I'm still at most of my max HP, it's just that when you're on hard mode, you really want to be careful of your HP thresholds, especially against something that can hit multiple times like this. Uh-oh. And something like that. Fatal End. Okay, at least that wasn't on Igus. But as you can see, this thing hits pretty hard. And it's defense debuffed again, which is great. Though it hopefully won't last much longer.
Hang in there.
Oh, that's fine. I probably would have preferred that on Igus, but that's fine. I'm really surprised they haven't used Dekunda yet. They have it, but their AI must just be programmed to use it very rarely. Because I know that there are some bosses, I think, in the, I think in the Digital Devil Saga games that have AI coded around always using a debuff cancel or if they're debuffed, which, in some cases, you actually have to abuse, because otherwise the boss will just destroy you.
Don't mess with me.
You know, actually, I think the Demi-Fiend works like that. I seem to remember that there's something to do with that fight, is that you have to actually keep it debuffed to a certain extent. Because otherwise he'll use his more dangerous attacks instead of just Dekunda. Now, and I think the bonus boss in Digital Devil Saga 2 is similar. It's like every few turns he uses a buff canceller if you're fully buffed, but if you're not fully buffed, he'll spend that turn using something ridiculously dangerous, and you don't want him to be using that. Anyway, now I'm going to use All Gear mode, even though it'll only affect her Garo skills, and now I'm going to go ahead and switch to the wrong persona. I mean, Huapo looks like a pixie, so yeah, I guess there's that. I can go for Holy Arrow, I suppose.
I need your help.
Yeah, be prepared to hear that line a lot in the answer. Oh, hey, I actually got Charm.
Persona.
And yeah, no SP cost for Garolor is not bad. But I missed entirely.
Waiting is part of my...
Oh, okay, yeah, I need to change you off heal slightly. Actually, no, I probably have to keep you on that because you can't hurt these enemies at all. Nice one. I almost forgot about that, but yeah, their repel is also going to affect themselves. So, because a repel can't repel another repel, that's a lot of saying the word repel. But because of that, if a repel hits something and it rebounds into something that also repels it, the repel is treated as a null.
Persona.
So, I mean, charming these things is kind of useless, but oh well.
Keep it up.
Now, even if I do knock down all the enemies here, while the Gigas is still around, I don't like to use all-out attacks in this fight. Because it'll, get the Gigas back up on its feet again, is what I was meaning to say. Well, that actually does decent damage. Now you can finally use that again.
I won't lose.
And Magaru time. I think we're getting close to finishing this fight, if these things would stop dodging. Kinda wish you'd buff us, but oh well. And let's use Waffle again.
I need your help.
Yeah, there is dodge fire. That is pretty annoying. Won't prevent you from getting hit by wind, though. And yeah, even though that thing is a single enemy that's on the ground, Akihiko can't hurt it at all, so yeah, he's stuck just doing that. Like I said, the main reason I used him in this fight was because of his debuffs, which I thought would provoke the enemies into using debuff cancelers more often rather than their regular attacks, but instead, it just, well... I want to stay on Waffle because... I want Waffle to get the experience from this rather than Orpheus. Orpheus is already leveled up.
I've been waiting for this.
Let's finish it with an all-out attack. Kind of funny that it's also charmed. It's like, oh, I love you guys so much. You're all coming towards me with the intent to beat me. And we get a lot of experience in that, and we also get a steel right arm, which, disturbingly enough, its only use is to be sold. So, we're selling that Gigas as arms. Oh, and I guess leveled up again. Actually, we can create some new personas at level 29, so I might want to go back to the Velvet Room. And we also leveled up our Waffles. And learned Agilao, which would be a lot more useful if it weren't for the fact that Orpheus already had that. Oh, Rakuinda isn't bad, but I doubt I'll keep you for much longer. Agilao might be good fusion fodder, though. And so we've defeated the first boss in the answer, which wasn't really all that hard. So let's investigate this door. We've got a door here, but firstly, we have stairs that lead further into Malbolg. And, as is traditional with these dungeons in this game, after defeating a boss, we can get ourselves a few items. 3 beads and 2 bulbs of life, which is very, very nice. They're pretty hard to get at this point in the game. So if we check this door... it leads back to the Desert of Doors. So a second door has appeared, and now we can start from floor 8 of that dungeon whenever we want. So yeah, like I said, the warp points come after bosses in this game, not before. Well, this mode, I should say. So I'm going to head back for now, and I think I might actually do a little bit more Velvet Room. But first, I'll swap Ken back into the party just because he needs experience. Kind of want to keep Yukari around though, because she is our best healer at this point. Let's add you, and let's take out Akihiko. I want to keep using Metis, because she is a totally new party member. Probably should save after having beaten that boss, but I want to go to the Velvet Room first. I mean, there's really not that much I need to risk for having fusion accidents at this point. If anything, a fusion accident would probably help me, because they can often result in higher level than usual personas. So, now that we're level 29, I'm pretty sure we can get Genbu now. Yeah, oh, we can get Jikoku-ten. Jikoku-ten is pretty awesome, actually. Though weakness to dark is not great. Though Jikoku-ten kind of supersedes Titan, so I'd like to find some way to get rid of Titan. You can also get Orthrus, who, weak to ice, null, fire. Actually, Auto Tarukaja on you is not bad at all. Yeah, it's another thing with Agilao, though your stats are pretty good for this point in the game. Or we can get Kusimitama, though I like Lamia. Kusimitama's okay, but that's agility's pretty bad. Lamia's stats aren't great, but I love those resistances she has, so I might want to keep Lamia around for a little bit longer. Orthrus is not a bad idea, though. Okay, there is Genbu. That requires Ares and Lamia. And Growth 1 is actually excellent to pass down to other personas in the answer, because like I said, it's a lot harder to grind personas in this game than it is in the journey, thanks to the lack of social link bonuses. 26 endurance is nice. Weak to elect, though, is bad, but you got a couple of resistances. But I do like Lamia's resistances a lot. Definitely want to get rid of Ares, though. Is there anything else I can make out of Ares? Doesn't... Oh, actually, I can get Sati. Sati is, again, a fire user. Seems like there's a lot of those at this point. And we're going to be getting Junpei and Koromaru back soon, so fire is not exactly that much of a priority right now. Can't quite get Ormitsunu yet, which is kind of a shame because he's pretty good too. Okay, Takamikazuchi, Fortuna, and Ares. We can use that to get Orthrus. Dodge, Wind, Palimpa aren't exactly the skills that I want on you, though. It looks like it's really hard for me to make Jikokoten without sacrificing Lamia, which is a shame. This seems like a nice option if it weren't for the fact that I'm giving up my one ice user. Although if I make Genbu after this, then Genbu also has ice, so maybe I should go for this. How did I make Genbu again? Let me just see if it doesn't require any of those. Lamia and Ares. Or Huapo and Takamikazuchi. Okay, Auto Rakukaja and Auto Tarakaja. I will definitely take that. That's a great persona to lead with in boss fights. And so it is time for the reawakening of Tursus. I still find it ironic that that a character named Zeke von Genbu, whose primary element is electric and he's weak to earth, because in most things where Genbu appears, Genbu is usually associated with earth. That I could actually be wrong. I forget what Genbu's actually associated with, because I know that in, like, the mythology of the 4 cardinal beasts, they're all associated with a particular element. I forget if Genbu is earth or not, but... I mean, Suzaku is obviously fire, and if I'm remembering right, then that means, I think Byakko is metal, and then that would mean that Seiryu is wood? That sounds right to me, but I feel like maybe Byakko and Seiryu are the other way around. I would still love to see a wood element actually show up in a game. Also, Girin Makala already. That was another persona that required a special item during the journey, but 2 weaknesses. Repel Slash is definitely not that bad, though. I remember you guys were really annoying to fight in Persona 5. I mean, I keep talking about Persona 5, but Persona 5 is an amazing game. I love that game so much. No, I probably want to keep Genbu. Okay, I do have a way of making Jikokoten, but it requires Lamia. Jikokoten's really not that much better than Titan, though. Does have some better stats and skills, I guess. Seems like almost every fusion that I can do at this point requires giving up Lamia, who I don't want to give up, but I can get Sati. Sati is actually not bad. Empusa, I think, is the only thing that actually, there's Fortuna. Fortuna's pretty much junk, who I want to get rid of too, but you can't really make anything decent, doesn't require giving up anything better, so... Yeah, I think I'll go for Hypixie and Ares to make Sati. So, let's fuse the obvious song joke. So that's all we can do here at the moment, and yes, so something I want to point out, we don't have the compendium. That is why I was so hesitant to give up Lamia. So with that, I'm actually going to save here, and next time we'll be exploring the rest of Malbolge. There are a few more floors. On the 15th floor, this place will be over, and there's actually no more bosses in Malbolge. The 15th floor is just a cutscene, but we do want to get to it as quickly as possible because of certain reasons. We'll gain access to something very, very important by the time we get to the 15th floor. So, see you next time for that.